Naftali, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I do hear you, Ronnie. Good
Oh,
morning.
okay. All right. We're waiting for the Hilo just went, I guess, to get the stands. So we're starting in a few minutes, and then I don't know if he'll just connect my phone or we'll restart again. But we will be starting from the Mishnah Shatfa Nahar, like the last Mishnah on 117b. Okay?
Good.
Just okay, so.
Thank you.
And I'm prepared to go all the way to the end of 118, however, time permitting. So we'll do the best we can for you.
Well, Rennie, I'm prepared to pick it up from the Mishnah on 118b.
Okay, so I'm just saying, whatever. So we're both overlapping. It's cool.
That's fine.
That last Mishnah I love. I really want to get to it. It's no, you want to know something? It's something that a lot of people rationalize. I'm on here. Can you you have the stand or what? So let's see. Put them in sideways. Hold on.
And Hillel, on Sunday, could you help me set things up also?
You'll be here?
Yeah, I'm coming there Sunday morning.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, then of course. Okay, hello. I just went on. Did I have to do anything else?
No.
So it's just on.
Recording as we go.
Okay, you should. What's happening to this leg here? What is this, from Beetlejuice or what? The legs are coming apart on this stand. Okay, hold on. Can you tilt it correctly? It's like, look how my glasses down.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. I'll just launch it here. It's all right. Still a little crooked here. Can you tilt that just a little clockwise? That's good. Is that good? Well, good for nothing. Which one?
You look great.
You
look great, honey.
Oh, okay. Well, reflection. So Chaim's here and Hillel's here. We're going to start this year. Thank you, Hashem, for giving us the ability and the chance to learn and discuss for Shleim, all the people needed with four Shleimas, Pidyon Shvuyim. Let's bring back those still in Gaza, whatever, have not been returned to Eretz Yisrael. They should be safe in the interim. Also, in memory of Golda, Zahava, Bas, Binyamin, Baruch Binyamin. I was getting there. All right. Thank you, Chaim. All right. With the last Mishnah on 117b, Shatafa Nahar. All right. So we previously mentioned about if a man stole a field. All right, not that easy to steal a field. All right, how do you steal a field? Whatever. But let's say he stole a field. We're not going to get into that. All right, he took a field and he put up his trailer there, and he put a fence around it, and he worked the land. All of a sudden, he was kind of making a kinyan and something he had no right to, or whatever. All right, now, if a river was inundated, Shatafa Nahar, and destroyed it. So now along comes a mini tsunami. It floods over the field. All right. The plants and the crops are not salt tolerant. It destroys the field. All right. Is he responsible to the owner for that field and everything that's on it? Because, well, let's just say the field, because, the question will be, secondly, it's an act of God, well, firstly. But the other thing, did he really own the field to begin with, or was he not able to steal the field? All right. Omer Lo, the rabbi says to the owner of the field, you know what? Behold, it's before you. All right. In other words, that is no further reimbursement because I never really stole the field. It was there before. It's there now. It's you. It reminds me of when we learned about Rabbi Tarfon, the Tarfon, shop and drop. It's here. you guys work it out. Okay. So he's not liable to pay for the ruined field. For land cannot actually be stolen. Even after the thief takes it, it still remains in the owner's possession. Since the land remains his own, he incurs the loss. Now, that's why I like personally investing in real estate than in stocks, because it's very easy to lose stocks, but unless you stop paying the mortgage or whatever it is, you don't lose your land. Realty is very good. Yes.
You don't lose the stocks; they just go to nothing.
Well, right. Tana Rabbanim. The rabbis taught in the Brisa, Gozo Soda Mechavero. So now we're going to bring a Brisa and see if this supports or contradicts what we just learned. If one steals a field from his fellow, okay, on the supposition that he's able to steal the field, Ushtafa Nahar sounds almost identical. And the river, whatever body of water inundates the field. Oh, so this is in contradiction to what we just learned. All right? He says the robber is obligated to provide the owner with another field. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. So these are the words of Rabbi Eliezer. The Chachamim Amrim, but the sages say, Omer lo, he says, the robber says to the owner, Harei shecha lefanecha. So in this brisa, the Chachamim agree with the Mishnah we just learned, all right, that the guy just stops shop and drops it. Your field was here before, your field is here. Now it's your field. You deal with it. Or, and if that's the case, so no problem by Chachamim. But how does Rabbi Eliezer, I think that should be the next logical question, handle the first Mishnah? Or how does the Mishnah, our Mishnah, handle Rabbi Eliezer, who says no, he has to give him another field of value. But my Kamma Miflage. In what point do they disagree? Rabbi Eliezer Dorish Riboy Umiyot. All right, so before we go into the next thing, let's just go over the difference between two ways. We read in Rabbi Yishmael, the only thing faster than davening by the Chazan than Rabbana and Kaddish is Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yishmael, the paragraph before that. They zoom through that, and then they zoom through the Kaddish. So one of those things talks about Klau Prat, Prato Klau, Klau Prato Klau. So I don't know if anybody ever took time really thinking about what those mean, but basically we're going to discuss the difference between Klau or Prato Klau. Klau is a generalization. Generalization is also an all-inclusive kind of thing. This is the way it is, guys. Prat is, but I'm going to single out an exception. Klau is I'm going back to the generalization. Now, when I say it, I'm going, no, this is how the pasuk is being read, that there's a general, a specific, and then the general. Or sometimes it depends on the yeshiva, it depends on the Rav, and he's going to figure this out based on the Masorah from his Rav. His Rav might have said to him, no, you know what? We don't learn this one according to that rule, but we learned it according to Riboy, Miyat, or Riboy, which sounds almost the same. Riboy means generalization, a lot of stuff, all-inclusive. Miyat means, but we limit it to one kind of thing. Riboy, now we go back to same. And we'll see that the main difference between the two of them is in the second one, Riboy, Miyat, or Riboy, the Miyat, the limiting thing, is the one specific thing this doesn't apply to, all right? When you're learning the Klau, you're saying Klau uprat or Klau. The prat, which is, again, the limiting thing, is kind of a limiting example. So things that are like that example won't apply to the general rule. In other words, so it's a little bit larger. That's as far as I can understand the main difference. Okay. But it doesn't mean that the people who always learn Klau, Prato Klau will always learn that in every pasuk. In the opposite, it depends on that specific law and how they were taught. Okay, Rabbi Eliezer Dorish Riboy Umiyut. So he expounds the scripture and the method of implications and limitations. He applies this to the scriptural passage that teaches the obligation to return the stolen objects. So here's the pasuk: V'chichesh ba'mito riboy. He says, and he lies to his fellow regarding a deposit or a loan. All right. So his friend says, hey, I lent you some. The guy says, nah, you never lent me that. Or you put this up. It's the first thing is a total denial. It's not unusual. It is an amplification of the class of items that can be acquired through selling. All right. So, in other words, through stealing. In other words, he stole it. All right. And then he denies the stealing. By generalizing, the verse tells us that anything at all, even land, can be acquired through an act of theft. That's really an assumption. We're assuming that because it's a generalization. All right. The robber said, I didn't steal that land. But pikadon, that now the word pikadon is used as the limiting factor. Miyat. When the verse continues regarding a deposit or a loan, it limits this class of items. By mentioning specific items, the verse tells us that not everything can be acquired by stealing. Mikol asher yishva alav l'shakir chazer b'riba. And then the end of the pasuk is everything that he swears falsely, again, amplifies the class of items that can be acquired by theft. So altogether, that's a riba, or miyat, a riba. The rule is that when the Torah amplifies, limits, and amplifies, ribako, it means to include everything in the relevant law with a single exception. All right, and in this case, to a single exception would be the pikadon. Or I think we're going to explain that it's a star. I'm not sure yet. All right, my Rabbi, what then did the Torah include in its amplifications in this passage? Rabbi Kol Milei, it included all things, even land, in the laws concerning the return of a stolen object. Okay, so if you're going to learn this way, then everything would also include land. All right? All stolen things must be returned. Perforce, they can all be acquired through stealing, which means that according to this learning, actually land can be stolen. So what's excluded here? And what is the one thing that the Torah excludes through this? Miyet shtaros, yeah. It excludes documents which are things least similar to the items mentioned in the verse. Let's face it, when you compare everything else that's around a miyat, and you want to look for the most limited item, a star has no value. I mean, it's worth the paper it's written on, and the paper it's written on isn't worth anything. So the star itself is the one that you really can't steal, all right? Because a star has Aiden, it has witnesses, right? So what happens if the star is lost? So find the witnesses, they'll write a new star, and they'll say, yes, on such and such a date, this item was, this woman was married, this loan was made, this land was, whatever it was, okay? According to Rabbi Eliezer, the verse teaches that the stolen land is included in the obligation to return stolen objects, which means that with the act of theft, the robber acquires the land. Therefore, if the land is damaged, in other words, with the inundation of the flood, if the land is damaged while in the robber's possession, he's liable to pay. That's why Rabbi Eliezer said that. Rabbanan darshe klau prat, but since Rabbanan learned klau prat, then the chichesh klau, so he lies in his fellows. The words "and he lies," that's chichesh, to his fellow, are generalization. The pikadon, that's the prat, the deposit, that's or a loan or a specification. Specification clarifies the meaning of the generalization that precedes it. Thus, and he lies to his fellow refers to particular cases of stealing mentioned in the next phrase, O mikol, chazor v'kol, when the verse then states regarding anything, the Torah is again generalized. All right, done. Repeat this too much, it gets confusing. Now, cloud, prat to cloud. What if you learn it the other way? The rule is that when there is a generalization, a specification, and a generalization, you may expound the overall law to include only those things that are similar to the specification. So as I mentioned before, cloud, prat to cloud, it's not just one item that's excluded, like the star. by the ribu miyat to riboy. Here it's things that are similar to that specification. Ma prat davar metalto v'gufel mammon. Just and remember in the pasuk, the specification was pikodon. Pikodon. What's that in English? That's when you leave something. Help me, I'm just blocking. When you borrow something and you leave something collateral. Thank you very much. Ma prat davar metalto v'gufel mammon. Just as the case is specified in the verse, or a deposit or a loan concerning things that are movable and have intrinsic value, that's what a collateral is. Afkan kol metalto v'gufo mammon. So too, with the entire class of items that can be stolen, they are all things that are movable and have intrinsic value. All right. So land is not movable. Therefore, according to learning cloud by the cloud, land will not be included in items that can be stolen. Yatsu kakos. Therefore, that's just jumped ahead. This excludes land, same metatlan, they're not movable. Yatsu avadim, it also excludes slaves. Why? Shehukshu lekakos, because for legal purposes, they've been made analogous to land. And yatsu storas, and now we're also going to exclude storas, shafa pisha metatlan, because even though they are movable, and gufa mammon, they have no intrinsic value. According to the sages, the verse teaches that stolen land is not included in the obligation to return stolen objects. This means that the act of stealing land does not cause the robber to acquire it. Accordingly, if the land is damaged while it is in his possession, he is not liable. The Gemara notes a potential difficulty with this interpretation of the dispute. For Tanya, and regarding that which was brought toward in the Brisa, all right, so now a new case. Right. One steals a cow, and the cow's on the field, all right, and the river comes and sweeps it away. It says over there, he has to go and provide the owner with another cow. This is what Rabbi Eliezer says. But the sages say, the rabbi says to the owner of the cow, behold, what's yours before you. Again, it's similar to what you just said before, or certainly what Rabbi Toffan used to say, shopping truck, just drop it there. So it's a dead cow, it's in the ocean. It's going to wash back, whatever it is. In that case, what is the point in which Rabbi Eliezer and the sages disagree? In the case of this Brisa, the stolen object, the cow was movable and had intrinsic value, all right? So if it's movable as intrinsic value, then the coin, again, what we just learned, cloud prat to cloud, if it's movable as intrinsic value, it should be able to be stolen, right? Still Rabbi Eliezer and the sages disagree precisely as they did regarding the stolen field. It would seem that the disagreement is in fact not based on the differing methods of expounding the above verse. So the first time we tried to answer it, we based it on the difference between using cloud, Prado cloud, or reboy, miyat reboy. Now we're saying it's not going to fit in here because now this new Brisa doesn't seem to match what we said before. Amar Papa, so Papa says, Hasan b'mayaskinam, what are we dealing with over there? The first case was he stole a field, all right, and a cow was lying in it, all right? So it's not that he stole the cow, he stole the field. And the river came and swept it away. The thief performed no specific act of acquisition on the cow itself. Accordingly, when he acquired whether he acquired the cow is directly dependent on whether he acquired the field. Remember, how do you acquire things then in the field? We said this the last time. I think I had to give over the share by Agav. Incidentally, I got the field. I bought the house. It comes with everything that's in it. I bought the land. It comes with the trees and everything. There's a cow on it. I get the cow too. All right. The Rabbi Eliezer timer, because Rabbi Eliezer follows his reasoning expressed in the previous Brisa, which is that a thief acquires the land he steals. When he acquires the land, he acquires the cow along with it. Therefore, if the cow is damaged, he's liable. All right. So, Rabbanan Latame, but the rabbis followed their reasoning expressed in the previous Brisa, which is that the thief does not acquire the land he steals. Since he does not acquire the land, he does not acquire the cow. Therefore, he's not liable for damage sustained by the cow. So we gave another explanation for explaining this case and not using the cloud brought the cloud. All right. I'll go as a new Mishnah. Concerning, we have a lot of Mishnayos here in this page 118, Kufyat Ches. All right. Concerning one who steals from his fellow, Hilva Meno, or he borrows from him, Chehif Gidlo, or whose fellow deposited an article with him for safekeeping, B'yishuv, in a habitated area. All right. So this act happens in the city, in the town, all right, in a metropolitan area, urban. It didn't happen in the middle of the desert, all right? If it is in the settled region, lo yachzir lo b'midbar. So now the guy who wants to return it to him, he can't go out to the wilderness and give it to him there, all right? I'm not taste by midbar, but if he accepted the money or the deposit on the condition that he may go to the wilderness to return it, yachzir lo b'midbar. All right, so maybe the guy said, look, I'm going to go on vacation to that oasis in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and no one's around, all right? And he says, but he's on the condition that he may go to the world. And he says, but you know what? If you want to go all the way to here, it's like going to Mada. You want to go here to return it to me, all right, come, it's okay. I'm over here. Now, before you go further, you just got to think, what's the big deal? He's returning it. Why do we care if he returns it in the desert? All right, if you lend somebody money, all right, and the guy comes up to you, all right, excuse me, at 5:30 in the morning on the street and says, here's a $10,000 that I borrowed from you. It's not the most opportune time to be carrying $10,000, maybe to carry a concealed weapon, but not the $10,000, okay? But the same thing, well, maybe you're in the middle of another business deal for making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and this guy comes to give you the $50, time and place. You got to know the right thing. In fact, the word mazal, some people say that's makom zman ladat. You want to be lucky, know the right place, the right time. All right. Otherwise, so you can't just say it's okay, I'll bring you to the wilderness or a renewal. But in contrast, this ruling, and the ruling of the follow brisa, but you bring another brisa. That's what this is all about. We bring a mission, then we bring a brisa that's against it, and we try and then jive them both. All right. A loan can be paid anywhere. He says that's what it says in the other brisa. Well, that's in contradiction to what we just said, that it may not necessarily go out to the midbar unless it was prearranged, this and that. Okay, which I think will be the answer. So a loan can be paid anywhere, but a lost article or a deposit can be returned only in its place. So it's making a distinction there. All right. This price implies it is permissible to repay a loan even in the wilderness. Thus, it contradicts our Mishnah, because the Mishnah was all inclusive of all those items. So the Gemara answers, Abaye said, this is what the Brisa means to say. Payment for loan may be demanded anywhere. The return of a lost article or deposit may be demanded only in its place. So, okay, that's just the way it says it. The point of the Brisa is not to permit the borrower to repay wherever he wishes. It is to permit the lender to demand payment wherever he wishes. Thus, it poses no contradiction to our mission. Now they're happy. Okay, the Mishnah says, is everybody with me more or less? Naphtali, yeah? I got enough. Okay, thumbs up. If he accepted the money or the deposit on the condition that he'll go out to the wilderness to return it, then he may go out to the wilderness and return it. The Gemara asked, Pshita, this is obvious. If the lender agreed to this stipulation, certainly he must abide by it. Why must the Mishnah trouble to even teach us? The guy said, you can come. You want to come to the oasis? Fine. Go all the way out in the desert. This is like John Wick, last chapter or whatever. And the guy's traveling in the desert with, what do you call it? I know you didn't see the movie. You have no idea what I'm talking about. And the guy's walking with the camel in the middle of the wilderness. I can't behave. It's not. That was, excuse me.
Does Naftali know of the
That
jungle
was
here?
the previous stop where the guy chopped the piece of the branch with the beehive on it. All right, whether he got the beehive or not.
Look,
All right,
this person-
Lo tzricha. No, the Mishnah's ruling is necessary. The Amalei, for it discusses a case, I'll try and behave. For it discusses a case where the depositor, upon leaving the deposit with the custodian, said to him, so listen, Leve Yahave Hai Pikodan, Gabach, the Ana Lemidba Nefike. Let this deposit remain with you because I'm going out to the wilderness. Amalaiyo, and he said to the depositor, Ana Lemidba Nami, Be'ena Lemefak. I too must go to the wilderness. It just so happens I'm going to the same convention in the oasis in the middle of the desert. So I'm going out. The Mishnah teaches that since he informed the depositor that he too will be in the witness, in the wilderness, it is if he said explicitly, if I wish to return it to you there, I return it to you there. All right. So the guy who lent him the money, he says, I'm going out to this hotel in the middle of the desert. All right. And the other guy says, I'm going to the same convention there. So in that case, he can return. Therefore, he may compel the depositor to accept his return in the wilderness. Mishnah, another Mishnah. If one says to his fellow, I stole from you. Or he says, you lent me money. Or he says, you deposited an article with me. And all of a sudden, he has selective memory loss. And he says, you know what? I don't remember if I returned to you the stuff I stole or the thing that you gave to me, all right, or the thing that you loaned to me. It's funny. He just doesn't remember, okay? So, all right, he chayav l'shalom. Going to the Mishnah, he says he's liable to pay because he doesn't know. But if he said to him, I'm not sure whether I stole from you. I don't know whether you lent me money. All right. Or he says, I don't know whether you deposited an article for me. This is like an extended Fifth Amendment. Then he's not liable to pay. Okay? Itmar. It's stated. So now the Gemara is going to bring a dispute. Itmar. All right, the master taught. If one says to another, you owe me a mana you owe me a mana. And this sounds so similar to the Mishnah. He says, I don't know whether I owe you the mana. Rav Huna, Rav Yehuda, Amrei Chayev. So Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda, they say he's liable to pay the money. Rav Nachman, Rav Yochanan, Amrei Pato. Rav Nachman, Rav Yochanan say he's not liable to pay the mana. Rabbi Yehuda, so we're halfway down Kuf Yud Ches. How are we doing time-wise?
Alpha base.
Okay. What?
Olive.
Right. Rav Huna, Rabbi Yehuda, Amrei Chayev. Rav Huna, the Gemara is explaining. Rav Huna and Rabbi Yehuda say he's liable. Bari B'Shama, Bari Yadav. Why? Now we're bringing another one of these kind of rules. Because what if you have an argument and one guy is sure about it and the other guy is not sure? All right. Do you go by the guy who's sure? He says, hey, I lent it to you. Or do you go by the guy who says, I'm not sure? Go prove it. How much of Mechaber I love right. Which way do you go? We'll see how they discuss. Barib Shema Bariada. Because they hold that whether one litigant claims certainty and the other claims perhaps the claim of the certainly is stronger. This is the Curly Joe from the Three Stooges rule. Certainly. All right. Rav Nach, I'm behaving. Rav Nachman, it's just a way to remember. Rav Nachman, Rabbi Yochanan, Amri Pato. Rav Nachman, Rabbi Yochanan says he's not liable because there is doubt regarding the ownership of money. Okay? Okay, mamana b'cheskas mari. We let the money remain in possession of its current owner. We maintain the status quo. That's why I just mentioned. Or do we say the guy is trying to take from the other person? He needs to bring proof. So since this guy has the money now, even though you are sure it's your money, you have to bring proof that it's your money or whatever we're talking about. Mishnah, another Mishnah. Tanan, we've learned in our Mishnah about im amarlo. Not Mishnah. We're quoting the Mishnah. Tanan, we learn Mishnah about im amarlo. But if he said to him, "Emi yadeim v'sicha pato," I don't. If the guy said to him, "I don't remember whether you lent me the money," or we recoin the Mishnah, he's not liable to pay. Hechi dami. So what's the case there? All right. Ilma delo katfa lay. If you say where the lender has not demanded payment from him, for he too is uncertain whether he is owed money, and it's for this reason that the borrower is exempt. Now we've leveled the playing field. Then you must say that the Mishnah's first ruling regarding one who admits that he borrowed money but is unsure whether he repaid is also a discussing case where the other party has not demanded payment. All right. So he too is unsure whether or not the debt was paid. Amai chayav. But if so, why is he liable? If neither of them is certain of the obligation, he should be exempt. Rather, the Mishnah's case must be where the other party has demanded payment. So he's certain that the defendant owes him money. The katani seifa patur milashalom. Still, the Mishnah's second ruling in the seifa rules that where the defendant is unsure whether he ever borrowed the money, he's not liable to pay. This contradicts the ruling we have from Rabbi Yehuda, who says that where a claim of perhaps opposes a claim of certainly, the claim of certainly carries the day. Professor, who said certainly?
Certain.
Yes, certainly.
Yogi Berra.
No, Curly Joe from the Three Stooges. Certainly. I was sure you knew that. Wait, Naftali, did you know that? Naftali knew that. I got a nod.
That was after Charlie Chaplin.
No, way after. Listen, you were after
Certainly.
what?
Certainly.
Certainly, right? That's exactly how he said it.
There you go.
Le'elam delo tava. No. Moshe, I'm sorry to tell you, Shalom's not here. But I'm sure there's a good reason. The Gemara deflects the challenge. Le'elam delo tava. No. Really, the Mishnah's case is where the other party has not demanded payment. He's unsure whether he's owing money. It is for this reason that in the Mishnah's second case, he is exempt. Reisha, but as for the Mishnah's first ruling, which rules that the borrower is liable, it speaks of one who comes to fulfill his heavenly obligation. This is very similar to, again, what we learned several daf and back, where why is the guy going to Madai, this, that, etc. He wants to square it off with God. All right, bidei shamayim. The other guy says, I know you God, keep by you. We were discussing all these ways of understanding it. The Gemara stated that where there exists some certainty of a debt, even one who is legally exempt must pay if he wishes to fulfill his heavenly obligation. So this has been between Adam Lamakam. The Gemara now offers support for this contention. Itmar Nami, all right? It was also stated. In order to give support, we got to bring it somewhere else. Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Chia bar Abba said the name Rabbi Yochanan. If one says to his fellow, "Mana li biyadcha," you owe me a mana. Hello, Mia. And this one says, "Any day." Says, "I don't know. I'm not sure." He's not saying. He's just saying, "I don't know." Chayav, he's liable to pay. Why? It sounds like that's because Barry, Shema, This guy's sure. You go back. Wait. If he is one who comes to fulfill his wait, I don't know. He's liable to pay if he is one who comes to fulfill his heavenly obligation. Does that mean that he only is liable to pay? Okay, no, I got the same translation.
21.
I'm reading that. So what does it say? He doesn't really have to pay, but he has to pay only if he wants to fulfill between him and God.
He holds different. Yochanan holds
I
different.
have the same translation. So what are you giving me that? So you read it. I can hardly read this part. Right.
Rav Yochanan holds that in this case there is no presumption of liability. The plaintiff's claim of certainty does not overcome the defendant's claim of perhaps. Therefore, the law of man.
Okay, so yeah, so that's what I said. So by man's law, it's not applied. All right, he doesn't have to pay him. It's only been adam l'makom between man and God that he's chayav to pay. Because in other words, if he never pays no one, that's between him and God, But that's where he's chayav. Okay, so it's not really a contraindication. Okay. I don't understand why you give me your computer of the same computer that I have is showing the same thing. I just sometimes can't read it. Okay, but thank you. But thank you for reading it. All right. Double vision. Then I will have double vision. How do you say double vision in science jargon, somebody? Diplopia. Okay. Hagan, what? Huh? Diplopia. You see two.
You see double.
Double.
You see into the future, you see the past.
No,
only Hashem.
Only Hashem. Right. Okay. Well, he hasn't really seen the future. He's there at the same time. He watches the movie past, present, future all at once. Hagan Tala Minha Eder. If one stole, that's why he always knows the ending. But it doesn't mean he planned the ending. You are the one who goes to step number. Hagan Tala Minha Eder. If one stole, new Mishnaic statement. If one stole a lamb from a flock, and he returned it, but when he returned it, he didn't notify the guy, the owner of the flock, that he stole it. All right, or that he returned it. He's saying, "Hey, I took this," and then he had charata. He said, I have some remorse. I don't really want to steal. I'm going to put it back. All right, the next day. He does it before the guy knows, apparently. He says, all right, Tachzira returns it, Umeis Onignav, and then that specific lamb died or was stolen. So, this Mishnah says the guy who stole it, he's chayiv. Because by stealing it and removing it from the flock, all right, he became the owner. Even though he put it back, he's still the owner. It's interesting, all right. But let's say the owner was never aware of the theft or its return, all right. He stole it in the evening. He stole it in the day. The guy was out of town for the day. He returned it at night. And then during the course of the night, the animal died afterwards or was stolen by somebody else. Now the original owner comes back. All right. The Mishnah is telling us that the first guy who stole it but returned it is chayav. And he counted. But now we're learning a little bit more about when the owner came back. What did he do? He counted the flock and found that it was complete. All right? So, Patur, the thief's not liable for any mishap. So here's what I actually gave it over wrong. The guy Reuven stole the sheep on Thursday morning. All right? Thursday evening, he returned the sheep. Thursday evening, a little bit later, the guy counts his sheep. He sees all the sheep are there. He never knew that it was stolen. All right? Thursday night, somebody else comes along or whatever, steals it, or it dies. All right? According to this Mishnah, the first Ganav is liable to go to Reuven and say, look, I know you didn't know this, but I actually stole it that day. I actually owned it, and even though it it died in your captivity. All right, I'm responsible. I'm going to pay for it. Reuven says to Shimon. All right, so let's see how the Gemara explains this, because that's kind of wild. So there must be different explanations. The Gemara presents 4 Amoraic rulings as to what constitutes the proper return of a stolen article, which exempts the thief from paying for any harm it might subsequently suffer, which is this case. All right? Each of these rulings requires a different interpretation of our Mishnah. So this gets really kind of interesting. So, Amar Rav. All right, you see that? We're on the last Gemara on 117a. All right?
118.
What?
118.
118. Okay. Okay.
118.
All right. Amar Rav. Ladas, if the article was stolen with the owner's awareness. Okay, number 1. The article is stolen and the owner knows I'm missing a sheep. We don't know exactly why yet. All right. It doesn't mean that the owner witnessed the theft, but he realized after the event that the article was stolen. That, let's say, the sheep was stolen for some reason.
With
all right.
Without.
What?
With and without. With the owner knowing and without the owner.
Well, no. First, we're saying the article was stolen with the owner's awareness.
Or without his awareness.
I'm not up to it. I'm reading Amar Rav.
Okay.
Amar Rav, Ladas. If the article is stolen with the owner's awareness, Tzarech Das, its return requires his awareness. All right? So this is the first interpretation. It needs his awareness. The thief must tell the owner the article has been returned. All right? That's A. All right? Shaloladas, which what you said,
Sorry.
if it was no problem. If it was stolen without his awareness, minyan minayin poter is counting of the possessions if the article has been returned, exempts the thief from liability. All right. So if the guy didn't know it, but after it was returned, the owner then goes and counts his flock or counts his money or whatever happens to be. Right now, we're talking about flock. All right. So, all right. Then the guy is exempt because the guy sees everything's there. All right. Okay. And according to this approach, when the Mishnah states and they counted the flock and found that it was complete, the thief is exempt. That was Thursday evening. A sefer refers to the refers to the Mishnah's later clause. Later clause, all right? The later clause is if the owner was not aware of its theft, only in that instance is the owner counting of the flock exempt the thief from liability. Well, that makes sense, all right? A dissenting view, all right? Again, we're giving 4 different ways of kind of understanding this. Shmuel Amar, but Shmuel says, Ben Ladas, Ben Shaloladas, is kind of what you said, you start to say before.
That's what I was reading.
Oh, okay, no problem. All right, it doesn't make a difference whether he was aware of it or not. Minayin Polter, his counting of the possessions exempts the thief from liability. As long as he counted. And according to this approach, when the Mishnah states and he counted the flock and found it was complete, the thief is exempt. Akula, it refers to in the entire Mishnah. All right. That refers to both the Reisha and the Sefer. The Reisha is where the owner knew of the theft. The Sefer was he didn't know of the theft, but he counted it. All right. A third opinion. Rabbi Yochanan says, Ladas, if the article was stolen with the owner's awareness. All right. So now the question is, it was stolen with the owner's awareness. Okay, Chaim, don't expect me to be exactly up to you in davening. If the article was stolen with the owner's awareness, Minayin Polter, his counting of his possessions exempt the thief from liability. How do we know that? Shaloladas, if it was stolen without his awareness, afilo minyan nami lo tzarach. Even counting is not necessary. And according to this approach, when the Mishnah states he counted the flock and found it was complete, the thief is exempt. Aresha refers to the first clause. And that one, it refers to the first clause where the owner knew that actually one was stolen. Okay. Fourth opinion. Gary, write these down if you want to remember. Rav Chisda said, "Ladas, if the article was stolen with the owner's awareness, minayin patur, so his counting of his possessions exempts the thief from liability. All right, shelo ladas, if it was stolen without him knowing, tzarech das, it needs. Listen to this is specific. Rav Chisda says, tzarech das, it needs the owner's awareness. The thief has to go to the owner and say, and tell the owner, listen, I'm sorry, I stole it, but I returned it to you. Right? And according to this approach, when the Mishnah states he counted the sheep and found that it was complete, the thief is exempt. Aresha refers to the first clause. So all those things which are very confusing has to do whether it's a first clause or the last clause. Reisha Sefer, and my computer jumped. What line am I on it?
You're at the bottom of 118A.
What word? Tashma?
No, that one Tashma I think is
No.
118B.
Oh, I'm already up to 118A. You said the bottom. You mean the top?
The top of 118B.
Okay. You said
the bottom of 118A.
I finished 118. Yes.
Probably.
Because all of a sudden my thing jumps. Sometimes it jumps to the next page. I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My timer, the Rav Chisda. So what's the reason Rav Chisda, top of 118b? Hoel van Ankita Nigre Brisa. A stolen animal requires extra protection since he got her into the habit of taking steps outside. This is very important because it's nature. This animal that has always been an inside animal in the cage does not know of the outside world. Think of it as a yeshiva guy that's always been in the yeshiva, all right? Or a cat that's always been inside, or a dog that's always been inside. All these different, all right? But it doesn't know anything else. Not saying it doesn't know better, doesn't know anything else, all right? Now it's tasted the forbidden fruit. It's tasted freedom. It's tasted choice.
Stolen. That was the sheep that was stolen.
Yes, and he put it back.
He's stolen. He belongs to the new thief.
No, but here's the thing.
He went outside.
He put it back. He put it back. So you would think, oh, he put it back, everything should be okay.
No, it's a different sheep.
Right. Psychologically, it's a different sheep. Now this sheep says, I'm not staying in Sheepshead Bay anymore. I'm going out to Coney Island. I see there's another place right on the other side of, the border, Okay. And did Rava really say this? Rava has ruled. What's my have a headache? Oh, me.
They recorded, right?
Record everything we do in life. Listen, everything we do in life is recorded upstairs. All right. But Rava has ruled. The Egba Imra Me'edra Didei. In the case of a man who saw his fellow lift a sheep from his flock with intent to steal it from a Bekala, and he yelled at the thief, "Yo!" he said, and Shagre, and then he threw it down. Below Yoda Hadre, Elo Hadre, but the owner did not know whether he returned the animal or whether he did not return the animal, or made a nignab, and then subsequently the animal died or was stolen. The thief is responsible for it. Right. Whoa, that's really interesting. All right. My love, Afalgav the money. Now, does this ruling of Rava apply even where the animal died or was stolen after the owner counted the flock and found it complete? First of all, what's funny is, stolen meaning his first stealing, because obviously if it died, it would be there. It would be gone. How can you find it complete if it's stolen and outside of the thing? So this is again, it's back in there, and then he finds it.
Same sheep.
Right, it's the same sheep. It's either dead there or it was stolen psychologically. It's different. All right, both cases. One is psychologically dead, and one psychologically different.
What did he see in Coney Island that really made him?
Steeplechase was fantastic in my day. Whoa, Steeplechase Park. Oh yeah, and then you could ride these horses. up and down like this all around the park. I still remember that. Okay. Low, but I wouldn't go on the parachute
Field trip.
drop. That was like too scary to me. It's too young. All right. The Gemara
Then when
answered
you went back into the flock, what happened?
when I went back into the flock.
Sheep said bay, yeah, back again.
They didn't take me back. That was the problem. Low the low money. No, this ruling applies only where the owner did not count the flock. Hey, Moshe. All right. The Gemara now addresses the Rav's ruling that if the owner was aware of the theft, the thief must notify the owner of the item's return. And if the owner never became aware of the theft, his counting suffices. This goes back and forth, these stories. Did Rav really say this? Didn't Rav just say, if the thief returned the stolen lamb to the owner's flock, even in the desert, he's fulfilled his obligation. But in that case, there was neither notification nor counting. Rav Chanan Barabba said, Moda Rav Bir Korata. Rav agrees in the case of a spotted lamb. All right. So this is like, not going back to Yaakov's story, but it's an unusual looking lamb. All the lambs, let's say, were white. All the lambs were black. And this guy had this one crazy looking lamb. He would know right away, looking at the flock, whether the lamb is there or missing. It's like, where is Waldo? I mean, Waldo's a little hard to spot out. But this lamb wasn't so hard to spot out. An animal there's distinguishing marks. Neither notification nor counting is required. Because as soon as the guy looks at his field, he's going to know. Right. Now let us say this matter was debated by the Tanam. Agonev Tola Mineda. One steals a sheep from a flock. Vesela Minakis. Or he steals Sela from a purse. Lamakam Shaganav Yaksi. He should return it to the place from where he stole it. Okay, hold on. It just moved on me, the Gemara here. Hold on. Where's it? Where are we exactly in the Hebrew line?
Hebrew, I don't know.
Somebody tell me where we are in the Hebrew line.
The Gemara suggests that the four-way Amoroi.
Oh, okay. So I'm at the right place. When I look in the English and it jumps, I don't know. All right. So Gemara suggests that the four-way Amoraic dispute cited earlier has a Tanaic precedent. Okay, I'm in the same place. Lema Ketanai. Let us say this matter was debated by the Tanam. Hagonev tell me that. We just read that.
Yeah, just more times down.
Sell it from a kiss. He has to Lamakam Shagab he has to return it from whence he stole it. Divrei Rabbi Yishmael. These are the words of Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Akiva Tzarech Das Balam. So Rabbi Akiva says the Balam need to know. Right? It's interesting because just remember Rabbi Akiva's sensitivity we discussed before Rabbi Tofan. Rabbi Akiva felt you had to pay each and one of everyone in order to clear yourself. All right, and he also continued teaching for just 5 students. Rabbi Akiva is kind of a very specific kind of rough, you know. It's like you have to do this right, you know. The thief must tell the owner that he has returned the item. Sabrua the Chuleyama Islahu the Rabbi Yitzchak. They, the scholars who drew the analogy between the two disputes, assumed that everyone, Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva, agreed with Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak said, Rabbi Yitzchak says the guy is always feeling his pocket to make sure his money is always there. My love, the seller ladas biflugasa the Rabbi Shmuel. Now, does the Brisa not deal with the seller that was stolen with the owner's awareness? And they, Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva, disputing the issue displayed by Rabbi Shmuel. Lo, betala shalom ladas biflugta the Rav Chisda Rabbi Yochanan. And does the Brisa not deal with the land that was stolen without the owner's awareness, in which case they, Rabbi Shmuel and Akiva, disputing the issue, debate Rav Chisda and Rabbi Yochanan? The Gemara rejects the second part of the analogy. Rav Zvid, Mishmei the Rabbah, B'Shama Shaganav Mirashis Balam. In the case of one who steals a lamb from the owner's domain, Kuliyama lo plige. Everyone, all agree with Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda, that notification is required. okay, because he wasn't aware. V'achad b'shomesh sheganav mirashiso shiach shelamakam sheganav kamiflige. And here, where Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva disagree as to whether the custodian who stole an animal was entrusted to him from his domain may return it to the place where he stole it without notifying the owner. Rabbi Akiva Saba Klatalo Shmirase. Rabbi Akiva says his custodianship has terminated and thus the owner himself must be notified. Rabbi Yishmael Saba Klatalo Shmirase. Whereas Rabbi Yishmael holds his custodianship has not terminated and hence his own awareness of the theft and return suffices. In the case of a theft that became known to the owner, Rav requires the thief to notify the owner of the article's return. Whereas Shmuel and the others rule that it suffices for you to count his possessions and find them all accounted for. The Gemara suggests it's done in the following branch, the three of the same issue. Layman minyan potter tonight. Let us say where count exempts a thief from this responsibility is a matter of Tanaic dispute. The Tanya, because you learned that goes as Chavero V'lo B'cheshbon. One robbed this fellow and laid included in. Okay, let me just say in short because we're not gonna fish this right now. We're gonna fish here where the guy stole, and then later on he has charata that he stole. So let's say he stole from a store. So he goes back. He doesn't want to admit it's embarrassing that he stole. And so when he pays the guy, let's say he stole $25. So he buys $75 and he pays him $100. The guy's about to pay. He says, "Yeah, keep the change." But what he's really trying to do is return the money, this and that.
Without informing
Yeah,
them that it's-
right. And the final mission on this page is going to talk about don't buy things that
Well,
you
the
obviously.
last one was- That doesn't count. If he overpays them, he returns it.
Well, that's what the discussion will be. I don't know how much stuff Tully's going to be able. I'll do it tomorrow because we need to finish. But I just want to quickly say what maybe you read on your own.
Exactly.
But the last mission is talk about don't buy from the black market. If someone's selling you a television set for $50 brand new in the box, and you see in the store that it's $500 brand new in the box, and the guy's selling it off a truck, don't rationalize all these things. Period. All right, you cannot. If it's too good to be true, it ain't true. If it smells like a duck, walks like a duck, and not a duck, it's a duck and all that stuff. So the last Mishnah on this page in Gemara is probably one of the most important things to learn because it's a matter of Yiddishkeit and Chassidischkeit and Menschlichkeit all coming together. Thank you very much. Moshe, have a safe trip. See ya.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is Shalom there?
No, he didn't show.
He didn't make it. Okay.
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 Shabbos.
I'll see. Yeah, I won't see you Shabbos.
Oh, okay. Anyway, have a safe trip.
Yeah.
All right.
I have my grandson's bar mitzvah Shabbos. And,
Oh, enjoy.
yeah.
All right. See
okay.
you. Okay, we're going to. We
Everyone.
got a minute. Yeah, shut me down.
Where's the
Good,
truck?
good Erev Shabbos.
What?
You're
Talk
muted,
about a truck.
Naftali.
No, but if you learn the last Mishnah Gemara, it talk about a marketplace.
Hello, what's the code to get in the parking lot?
5,
the year.
7, 8,
The year.
4.
5784 star,
The key,
Pound.
yeah. It has the-
5784 pound, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever's on the lower right.
Okay, thank you.
Good
Thank
Shabbos.
you, Rennie.
See ya.
Shabbos.
Pound is what they use in England, no? They don't.